Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The news of Frank Fritz's death was announced by American Pickers star Mike Wolfe on September 30. Since his stroke in 2022, Frank has been under constant medical supervision. Although Mike and Frank had a falling out before Frank's stroke, they had made some progress in mending fences since then. Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz have been co-starring on American Pickers since the program began. In their quest to bring the globe into small-town America via antiques, the childhood friends helped grow the program into a ratings powerhouse. But when Frank started struggling with addiction, their relationship came to an end. Rehab became an inevitable destination for Frank. After undergoing back surgery, Frank was discharged with about 200 stitches and 2 rods embedded in his back. He was dismissed from American Pickers by Mike at this time. It appeared like Mike had ruined Frank's relationship when he replaced him with Wolfe. "Whether I return to the show is a decision that rests with the network," Frank Fritz said in 2021, as reported by USA Today. "I won't be impacted in the slightest. The concert continued without me. The filming has over." Mike attempted to brush it off by comparing Frank like a brother, but ultimately the program needed to go on without him. Many fans were enraged by this. Following that, American Pickers had a season that was among its lowest rated ever. Upon Frank's stroke, the situation deteriorated worse. After Frank Fritz's catastrophic stroke, he remained silent in public. Nevertheless, Mike was there to provide encouragement and well wishes, and according to him, they spent time together after the stroke, which helped them heal their relationship. Frank had said in an interview from 2021, as reported by the U.S. Sun, that he hadn't spoken with Mike in 2 years, so this was encouraging news. Mike seems to have reconsidered breaking up a long-standing buddy after suffering a stroke. According to Mike, Frank was unable to reconnect with his old buddy because of his struggles with addiction. "We would be delighted to speak with him again, I promise you, but he just can't seem to get it right," Mike said. The struggles that Frank is facing as a result of his addictions are very personal. After attending treatment, Frank claimed to have maintained his sobriety for 11 months. After Mike and Frank had a falling out in May of 2023, they reconciled during Memorial Day weekend. Reportedly, they remained amicable, and Mike was attempting to compensate for Frank's departure from the program. "Could you tell me what you think about the fact that Frank Fritz and Mike Wolfe's connection became better in the year leading up to Frank's death? Post a comment telling us what you think." American Pickers co-creator and star Mike Wolfe has never been bashful about sharing his enthusiasm for finding history via the neglected artifacts he finds. Wolfe spoke on something more personal, his relationship with his longtime co-star and friend, as the antiquing world was rocked by news of Frank Fritz's demise. Through the ups and downs of their common interest and the years spent touring the nation in quest of rare treasures, Wolfe and Fritz developed a complicated and profoundly important friendship. After Fritz passed away, Wolfe wrote an emotional essay in which he answered many fans' questions about their relationship, the challenges they overcame together, and the influence Frank had on his life. The 2010 debut of American Pickers was followed swiftly by its meteoric rise to fame. Wolfe and Fritz's unconventional plan to discover treasures in people's attics, garages, and basements, while telling the lives of regular people, drew in viewers throughout the United States. Wolfe and Fritz's obvious connection was the show's driving force. But their connection was really established years before the episode ever aired. It was in their common Iowan hometown that childhood friends Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz first realized they had a passion for antiques. "Looking around junkyards and flea markets, which began as a pastime when I was a kid, has become something I'm very passionate about." Wolfe recalls meeting Frank when they were children in a recent interview. "Our shared passion for sifting through seemingly useless objects in search of hidden gems brought us closer together. As they matured, their lives took somewhat different turns. Wolfe devoted himself to his antiquing company, while Fritz became an expert in collecting petroliana, such as vintage oil cans and signage. Fritz was Wolfe's obvious pick for a partner when the concept for American Pickers came up, but their relationship stayed solid. Not only would the program feature their individual picking prowess, but it would also showcase the relationship between them that made them such an interesting pair. Due to American Pickers' meteoric rise to fame, Wolfe and Fritz were suddenly household names. However, there was a lot of pressure and difficulties that came along with celebrity. When they went from one tiny town to another, searching cramped basements and dusty attics for riches, conflicts sometimes emerged between them. "There were moments when Frank and I disagreed," Wolfe said. "It is inevitable that you will have arguments while traveling for so long together." Our profound regard for one another, meanwhile, was not always apparent to onlookers. Their schedules became more packed as the show's popularity skyrocketed. Filming, public appearances, and running their own companies had turned the once carefree picking into a well-oiled machine with demanding schedules and lofty expectations. Although Wolfe and I felt the strain differently, we were both affected. When it came to public life, Frank was never one to bask in the limelight. The pleasure of the quest, of discovering that one unique item that nobody else could appreciate, was something he relished. He was never interested in stardom, however. Even though they had their share of arguments and conflicts, Wolfe stressed that their relationship was never really severed. They spent a great deal of time together on the road, both in front of and behind the camera, and a bond like that is difficult to break. In 2020, viewers were taken aback when Frank Fritz vanished without a trace. Reasons for his absence were health problems, such as his back surgery that prevented him from selecting and his battles with Crohn's disease. Nevertheless, further details emerged as time went by. A split had developed between Fritz and Wolfe, and rumors of a breakup started circulating. Frank finally admitted that he and Wolfe had severed all communication, saying that it had been a long time since they had last talked. Many viewers were devastated because they felt the show's success would depend on how well the two buddies got along. American Pickers was missing something important without Fritz, and fans were hoping for a comeback. "I won't pretend otherwise. Things got tough between Frank and me," Wolfe remarked. "Keeping the program running was a huge burden for me, and Frank was dealing with his health and other personal issues. We seemed to have lost touch at some point." Wolfe found himself thinking back on the years they had spent together as Fritz's health continued to deteriorate, and the gap was terrible for both men. "I should have gotten in touch sooner," Wolfe said. "You think there will always be more time when someone has been significant in your life for a long period. Time is never certain, however, as life often reminds us."